If you want to level up your life and unlock the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you are new here, my name is Brianna Gomez, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for leveling up your life, achieving your dream self, and bringing your vision board into reality and stepping into the person that you've always wanted to become. If you clicked on this episode, you found it for a reason, and something is telling me that you have some growth that you want to add to your journey. You have an idea of the person you want to become and the shoes that you want to fill, but you just aren't quite there yet, and that's what I'm here for. That's what we're going to do together, is we're going to step into our highest, hottest selves. Odds also are, if you clicked on this video, you had some growing that you wanted to do this year, and you had things that you wanted to accomplish that maybe you haven't quite accomplished yet. And I think that's a really common thing, is at the beginning of a new year, at the beginning of 2024, maybe you were like, I want to accomplish XYZ, insert your goals here, and maybe you still haven't done it yet. And now the year's coming to an end, which is absolutely crazy. The fact that it's October is completely mind-blowing to me. And I think that a lot of people can feel this feeling of defeat as we near the end of the year. Oh my gosh, the year is over and I didn't accomplish anything that I wanted to. Maybe my body fitness goals, those didn't happen. Maybe my health and wellness goals, or this project that I wanted to start, or my promotion didn't happen. There is still time, you guys. And I think that the holidays and just the season, it serves as such a big distraction that I feel like once we hit, October, it's like, well, year's over. I'll start again next year, which are almost like the most harmful words that you could feed your brain, being like, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start next time. Like, oh, well, better luck next time. Guys, right now, just because it's October doesn't mean that 2024 is over. There's still 3 whole months left, and it is grind time, you guys. So today I'm going to be talking about the winter arc. If you haven't heard of a winter arc, the winter arc is essentially the last 90 days of the year from October through the end of December, where you have to lock in. But if you fully lock in and commit and focus on becoming that highest version of yourself, you have just enough time to do it before the new year. 90 days is like just enough time. And I feel like when people think 3 months, it's like, oh, like I have no time left to do anything. That is plenty of time, babes. You just have to start today. So today I'm going to break down what the winter arc is, how you're going to achieve it, and what things you can add to your winter arc self-care, self-glow up routine to achieve those goals and become your hottest, highest self by the new year, and also how to avoid distractions, how to avoid negative mindsets and self-limiting beliefs to keep yourself hyper-focused on these goals, because the main thing is you really just have to commit to it. So today is the beginning of your winter arc. Let's get into it, but before we dive into today's episode, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Today we have Jezebel. She said, "Hi Brianna, I'm Jezebel and I'm from the Philippines, and I've been listening to your podcast every time you post every night before going to bed to make me feel good in the morning and knowing that I must do things for myself and not what other people want me to be. Your videos are literally my safe space and you've helped me a lot, especially about my confidence. I'm still learning from your videos, so I hope you post more content because you've helped lots of people. I love your videos so much. I know I've changed so much into a positive person and taking good care of myself because of your videos. My friend said that I grew up this year because of your videos. I'm so grateful that I saw one of your videos that led me to Hot and Unbothered. I love you and always take care." Thank you so much, Jezebel, for that very sweet and thoughtful paragraph. That means the world to me, just knowing your story and how Hot and Unbothered has impacted your guys' lives and translated to help you in your real life situations. It's very mind-blowing to me, but very flattering and humbling at the same time. So thank you guys so much for that. Every single person, I read every comment, every message, every review. So please do not hesitate to leave a little review for the chance to be featured in next week's episode. All right, you guys, so let's break down the winter arc. So I know, like I was saying, at the end of the year, it sometimes feels helpless, kind of like a lost cause, because at the beginning of the year, you set all of these big goals for yourself. And if you're like majority of people, when you reach the end of the year, it can be very discouraging and feel a little bit shameful for yourself if you didn't finish those goals. And it doesn't feel like, oh, like I can do it. I can finish it up right now. You know what I mean? I feel like we just are like, oh, well, better luck next time, I'll start again next year, which is honestly such a self-limiting and doubtful way of thinking. So that's what the winter arc is for. The winter arc is saying, I'm not giving up on these goals and I'm actually going to focus, buckle down on these goals, stand on business with the goals and aspirations that I set for myself at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to finish the year strong. And I feel like that's where, a lot of the distractions from the holidays or seasonal depression come into play. It can get very discouraging. Obviously, your environment and the setting and the overall tone of the upcoming months play a huge major role in how you are going to accomplish your goals or get to that point. So that's why it's super important to build these strong habits and routines for yourself, so that way when the seasonal depression sets in, when the holiday time comes around, you are strong and deeply rooted in your goals and who you are and the life you want to achieve for yourself, that you don't let anything sway that or get in between you and your ideal dream self. I want you guys to think of the beginning of the winter arc, so right now, as the backbone or the foundation for what's to come in the next few months. Again, with the holidays and everything, it's super important that you build these strong habits now opposed to later. And again, during New Year's, if you were to wait that long, you just had the holidays, it's cold, and then you have like Valentine's Day and spring coming up, and there's so much room for error. You know what I mean? There's so much room for distraction and to kind of be like, oh, well, I just drank last night for New Year's Eve and I'll just start again tomorrow. You need to focus now. So again, the first step to the winter arc is to build a strong routine. And this doesn't have to be anything major, like you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. and get in the gym every day immediately and then be up until the wee hours of the night working on your big project, whatever it is you're working on. It doesn't have to be that extreme. But by this routine, I mean just really focusing on being strategic in how you implement the habits of your day-to-day activities to train your brain to truly be disciplined. So this starts from waking up and immediately making your bed, not getting on TikTok first thing in the morning, but getting up and making your breakfast, journaling, listening to a self-help podcast or a positive meditation frequency. There's so many different options for strong habits to create, but I want you guys to kind of go through and build-a-bear your perfect morning and night routine. What are the things that make you truly feel good? So for me, I know I want to not scroll in the morning. I want to make my bed immediately. I like to make my breakfast and I like to journal, maybe get in the sun if there is any. But maybe for you, you want to get up and go on a run first, take a cool shower, go to the gym. Everyone's morning routines are very tailorable to their own lifestyle, so you don't have to do anything that out of the ordinary, but it's just the overall concept and lesson to teach your body and that muscle memory of having a very punctual, detailed routine that you stick to. When you stick to this routine that you've built for yourself, your brain is like getting this like little check mark ticked off on every box of the morning routine that you checked. And it feeds our brain kind of a positive affirmation away saying, hey, it feels really good that I accomplished all this and it's just my morning routine. And I accomplished all the things that I told myself I would. Let's get even more done. So I know it might seem like it's game time and you have to really buckle down and create this whole extravagant routine every single day to reach your goals, but the key is to start small. And that brings me to a huge tip, is to create realistic goals for yourself and don't overload yourself with a bunch of unrealistic, out of reach goals. So that's not to say that you aren't going to achieve your dream life ever. It's just saying that maybe be a little more practical and mindful of how these goals fit into your lifestyle right now. So I'm not going to say I'm going to try to run 3 miles every single day. We don't even have that kind of time. But maybe I'll say I can walk a mile every other day while I edit on my phone. Like if you wake up at 10 a.m. every single day, maybe it's not realistic to just automatically flip the switch and start waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. But what you can do is maybe start gradually easing yourself into it. So wake up 1 hour earlier, every single week and just really get into building that habit. I think it's very beneficial to ease into these things, because when we set these big goals for ourselves and they don't happen, we feel let down, and it's very easy to just kind of shrug it off, brush it off and say, I'll just do it tomorrow, or I'll try again next week, or it was never realistic to begin with. But when you set realistic goals for yourself that are actually attainable, you have something to achieve, and you get that fulfilling feeling when you do accomplish it, and your brain knows that it wants more for you. And if you think about it this way, if you start now during your winter arc implementing these smaller habits, goals, aspects of your routine that you want to create in your life, those will be building you up for when the actual new year comes along, then maybe you'll be able to fulfill those bigger goals. Don't lose that visualization of where you want to be, but you have to focus also on what's in front of you. If my room and my life is a mess and I'm getting out of bed at noon every single day, I can't say, hey, maybe like within the next month, I want to be a millionaire or an overnight sensation. Well, what am I doing to get to that point? So yes, visualize 100% and think of the person who you want to become, but also realize that it is going to take different steps to lead up to that point. And I want you guys to visualize the highest person of yourself and do what they would do in your daily life. Because you can't expect to wake up tomorrow as your highest self, but be acting and living the same way as you've been living for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? There has to be a mindset shift. There has to be a routine switch. You have to really, really want it and be willing to do, honestly, the dirty work to get to that point where it feels so good to start achieving all of the goals and everything you've ever worked for. It takes work. So one of the key themes of the winter arc is consistency, you guys. You have to be consistent with every little aspect of your life. You know, I'm not saying, you have to brush your teeth on the same side every day, but wake up at the same time. Be consistent with how you show up for yourself every single day and how you prioritize yourself over the silly little things. Learn to be consistent with not going on your phone and scrolling for hours before you even get out of the bed. Get up and open your blinds. Make your bed. Make a healthy breakfast for yourself. There are so many things to be doing, and you just have to be consistent. And so things are going to feel hard when they first start. If you think about it, like when you were a baby and you first started walking, that was hard, right? It wasn't easy. You didn't just overnight one day start walking. You started crawling first. And then you started walking, but it took practice to be able to do it perfectly and effortlessly. And now look at you, you don't even have to think about walking. It's kind of like that in a sense, where you have to just do, quite literally, baby steps. And then one day it's a breeze. And before you know it, you're just growing and growing and growing. And your life is progressing right before your eyes. But all you had to do was start and practice and be consistent. And that's another huge tip, is you can't expect to just be granted everything you've ever wanted overnight. Sometimes it works like that, but a lot of times it doesn't. So you really just have to, again, be consistent, maintain these goals for yourself, maintain these habits. Habit stacking is a great way to go. I mentioned this in literally like every other episode, but read the book Atomic Habits, and it talks about habit stacking and the power of implementing a new habit by pairing it with a habit that you already have embedded in your routine. So for some people, I always use the example of coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, you wake up every morning, you have a cup of coffee, but maybe your goal is to drink more water. Well, now, before you have your cup of coffee, put a water bottle next to it. Make yourself chug a bottle of water before you allow yourself to drink your coffee in the morning. That way, you're pairing the new habit that you want to implement and learn with a habit that you already do on your own completely effortlessly, and it will remind you. And I think that's a really great way to start implementing new habits. I also love a habit tracker. Habit trackers allow you to create a list of things and then mark down the days per month that you accomplished it, or you could do a weekly one. There's also habit apps, which are really amazing. I'm pretty sure there's ones where you can like take care of an animal or a plant or something by like checking off that you did your habits and your tasks for the day, which is awesome on your to-do list. So figure out what works for you. Maybe for some people, it's completely writing out by hand your morning routine or creating a to-do list on the reminders app or on your calendar app. More into the nitty-gritty, you guys. For the winter arc, I actually have a list of things I want to do for my winter arc, and this is completely tailorable to you. So maybe someone else's goal is to lose 2 pounds for their winter arc, but maybe another person's is to gain 2 pounds of muscle. So this is different for everybody, but I'll just give you guys a more general idea of what I'm going to do. This is kind of like the vibes of 75 hard. If you've ever heard of 75 hard, there's like a strict list of rules that you try to do for 75 days. I have tried to implement like a 75 hard or a 30 hard, and I failed, and it's definitely because I am like completely going from 0 to 100, and that's just not how it works. I thought that I could just completely do a lifestyle switch in one day, which maybe for some people that works, but oftentimes the story is going to be that you implement it for a couple of days and then you completely backslide, and it doesn't even feel like realistic, attainable goals, so it doesn't even matter or hurt your ego that you're not doing it, because subconsciously it's like you almost knew it wasn't going to happen anyway. So I'm going to read you guys my winter arc plan for the girlies. I have the goal of 10,000 steps a day, and this is completely tailorable though. So you could do 5K to 10K steps a day. This is however you want it to be. I track my steps using a ring. This is the Ultra Human Air ring, not the Aura ring. A lot of people think it's the Aura ring, but I have the Ultra Human Air, and I have a code Brianna10 if you want a discount. Again, if 10,000 steps isn't realistic to you, change it to 5,000, but I want to get my steps in for sure just because it's so great for you. I want to journal or read 10 pages. So the rule for 75 hard for most people that did read 10 pages was just doesn't really align with me or my lifestyle. I'm not a huge reader, and when I am, it's like a self-help book or something like that. So for me, I prefer journaling. I have at least a 45-minute workout, and then on days where I'm not working out, an active rest day. So basically, I don't want a rest day where I just sit around and do nothing, which I think is pretty attainable. Again, you can go on a walk or a hike, dance around your room on your rest day, go on a trampoline, ride bikes. There's a lot of really fun things that you can do for your rest day to still keep your body moving. I have 8 hours of sleep, which already has proven to be a little trickier for me. So I actually haven't hit 8 hours ever since, my winter arc has started, but I've been getting a lot more sleep than I ever usually do, which is still really good for me. But I'm hoping that by the end of the winter arc, I will be sleeping 8 hours consistently per night. I'm doing 1 gallon of water a day. Again, I kind of have been missing out on this one. I forgot my water bottle today when I went to work, so I didn't even have it with me to get my water in, but I drink 2 half gallons per day, or at least I try my best to. And I think today was a perfect example. Like, I forgot my water bottle and I was like, great, like I'm not going to be able to fulfill my 1 gallon goal per day. Well, just because I don't have my water bottle with me doesn't mean everything else is completely unattainable. And that doesn't mean I can't focus on my other goals for the day. And I think it's so easy when you're really in the starting phases of building your routines and implementing these habits to just want to give up when everything's not perfect. But you have to be flexible with yourself and be patient with yourself and understand that not everything is always going to be checked off. Life happens and you have to be resilient and almost like malleable and kind of be able to just go with the flow. I also put limit alcohol and smoking intake. Obviously, if you're not 21 and you shouldn't be underage drinking, you shouldn't worry about this at all. I don't really drink like that anymore, but I didn't put absolutely no alcohol because in case I'm at like a birthday celebration or something and we're doing a toast, I don't want to, feel like I'm forcing myself to miss out on that. And I think that's another important thing is I would not recommend going into hardcore restriction for the winter arc. Again, one, it's really tricky with the holidays and stuff. For me personally, and this is me personally speaking, you don't have to cut out everything that you love and enjoy. You really don't. But instead of removing things that aren't necessarily great for you, what about implementing even more things that are truly good for you? So instead of being like, I'm not eating any sugar and I'm going on a hardcore diet, I want to eat more protein. So my goal is to have 3 full meals at least. Obviously, I have room for dessert and other things, but 3 full meals, and I want to hit my protein goals. So a great spot to be in for your protein goals is to get your body weight of pounds, take that number and put it into grams of protein. That is how much protein you should be getting a day. So if I weigh 130 pounds, I want to be eating 130 grams of protein per day. Not pounds of protein. That's scary. I've also been trying my best to follow 30-30, eating 30 grams of protein within the first 30 minutes of waking up, or at least some sort of protein right when I wake up, just to kickstart my metabolism and blood sugar levels for the day. I want to remove toxic energy and people from my life. Honestly, for me, that just means stop giving energy and worry to things that are no longer serving you. So those are my specific habitual goals for my winter arc, but I also want to again emphasize to try your best and let go of that all or nothing mindset. So if you're having a really hard day and you're not feeling 100%, I don't want you guys to beat yourself up over the fact that you didn't get your workout in. Because at the end of the day, it is ultimately about listening to your body and doing what you feel is best for you. If your body one day is telling you, I really can't work out today, that is totally fine. And then on top of that, you should be going the extra mile to make sure you're fueling your body and resting and getting your water in and just getting enough sleep so that your body can feel strong. So don't beat yourself up. It's important to remember that you are on your own side. I feel like we become so self-critical when we're trying to fulfill these big goals. That's why it's so important to remember any progress is better than none. And to kind of further describe what the winter arc is, I know I heard one girl say she was imagining like kind of the girl in a jacket at the gym when it's raining outside, just really showing up for yourself and not letting the seasons or the holidays distract you from who you are trying to become. And I feel like I've mentioned the holidays so much, and I don't want to make it seem like the holidays are distraction and the holidays are bad. I think the holidays are a great time to spend with your family and celebrate and all these things. Take time for yourself. But at the same time, you don't want to let it make you backslide from all your goals and distract you from who you're trying to become. What the winter arc is really about is when everyone else is sitting around on their booties, they're in the couch eating chips, cuddled up in a blanket, watching a movie. You could still do that, but go get your steps in first, but follow your routine first and make sure you're sticking to the person you want to become before you're allowing yourself that time. Obviously, you time is so important. Relaxing time is so important, but you don't want to be a couch potato all day, every day during the winter time, like half of America. So what we're going to do during the winter arc is we are going to, again, create the backbone that's going to set us up for success in the new year. The winter arc is really about right now implementing these healthy habits so that you can gain momentum and gain strength and build a foundation to move forward with moving into the new year. And that's why a lot of people in the fitness and wellness world, I know they don't even agree with New Year's resolutions, because why do we keep waiting until tomorrow when you can start getting on it today? Even if it's just baby steps, if you were to start today, you would be completely set to move forward with those New Year's resolutions if you would just start now. And I think the worst thing you can do for yourself is just say that I'll start tomorrow. And I said this in one podcast episode before, and I'll say it again. The best day to start was yesterday. The best day to start was probably last year, months ago. But the second best day to start is today. So we need to get up off our booties. We need to design our winter arc plan, and we need to create this momentum to go full force, full power, successfully into the new year. When you are trying to think of your winter arc, I really want you guys to become inspired by the person that you want to become. But I don't want you to think of this as if it's some, far-fetched, far in the future thing, but think of it as almost your alter ego. So say I wanted to be a Victoria's Secret supermodel, right? On those days where I am feeling so sad and sluggish and lazy and I don't want to get up and do my workout or eat well or take care of my body, I'm going to turn on Victoria's Secret Angel Brie mode. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to get on my treadmill. I'm going to start strutting like I'm walking the runway, and I'm going to know that this is worth it because it's something that my future self wants and needs in order to be successful in her career, right? You have to think, what would the dream ideal version of yourself be doing in this moment? Because I don't think they'd be laying in bed doom scrolling for hours and hours on end. I don't think they'd be doing that. I really don't. So think of your dream self or your alter ego and think of yourself now, and then think, what is holding me back from becoming that person now? And 99% of the things are going to come down to what you are doing in your active day-to-day life and how you are spending your time. Because again, your future self is probably going to spend their day-to-day way different than how you were spending it right now. I probably spend way too much time on my phone. And I think my dream ideal version of myself would be so girl boss, and she would be just on top of it. She'd be recording podcasts. She would be, doing emails, business calls, designs, all these things, finding motivation, also while taking care of her body. That's why it's important to identify who you want to become and who you are now, and take out the space in between. Because if you don't do that, you quite literally have almost a conflict of interest in a way between your current self and your future self, because your current self is not helping your future self out. You have to do it for your future self and for your dream life. And I think the winter arc is really about doing it for your future self and start focus on where you're going instead of just where you are right now. When you're walking, you can't just look straight down at the ground and focus on making sure every single little step is perfect, but you have to look ahead at where you're going, at where the end destination goal is, and make sure you're taking the steps in the right direction to end up at the correct place. So don't just look at the ground and focus so hyper fixated on what's in front of you at the moment, but you also have to look at the overall bigger picture and where you want to end up, and make sure you're doing the right things and following the right steps to end up there. The winter arc is also truly about wanting to show up for yourself. If you're going to the gym for other people, if you're only eating healthy to impress someone, you're never really going to truly feel it because you won't feel that fulfillment because it's not for you. The most beneficial thing you can do for yourself is really decide, why do I want to go to the gym or take care of my body, XYZ? And it always has to be for you. Because I want my body to feel amazing when I wake up. Because I want to live a long and healthy life. It has to be for you. You have to do these things for you. Otherwise, it's going to feel meaningless and empty. That's why I think journaling is super important. I do the 5-minute journal wellness edition. And every morning I write down what I'm grateful for. And also, what will I do today that will benefit my overall health and well-being? I answer those questions every single day, at least when I am able to journal, and it's great. I put, today I'm going to make sure to move my body. Today I'm going to make sure I sauna or drink my water. And then gratitude is another great way to implement these habits, and it's truly about doing things that make you want to jump out of bed in the morning. If working out and going to the gym, lifting weights isn't your thing, maybe you like dancing and you have a dance class or Pilates class or a yoga class that you're dying to get to. Do things that quite literally make you want to jump out of your bed in the morning, and that's how you should live every day. Look at the world with gratitude and look at the opportunities that you have with gratitude. You have a body. And you should be so grateful that you have a body that needs food to run and that you have food to fuel your body with. And that you have a body that's healthy and can move and you can work out and exercise and it's good for your heart and your mind and your soul. You have hands that can write and a brain that can think and journal these thoughts down. You are so blessed, and I think we've just become so used to what we have that we don't even care. But when you alter your perspective and you look at life through the lens of gratitude, it becomes so much easier to implement these healthy habits that are so good for you and your well-being because you're honestly just appreciating the day-to-day life. On sunny days, we should be so grateful that we get to go outside and get the vitamin D. There's so many little things to be grateful for, and I think realizing that is a really strong aspect of getting into the mood for the winter arc because you realize we weren't meant to lay on our butts all day, scrolling through our phone, watching Netflix, bed rotting, not getting out of bed for 12 hours. We were meant for so much more than that. And I think we've become so used to it. So things like setting screen time on your phone, things like, maybe deleting social media, doing a phone cleanse, those can be very, very beneficial. I have an entire episode on seasonal depression and how to stay out of your seasonal slump that goes hand in hand in this video. So if you want a part 2 of how to prevent the seasonal slump, go ahead and watch that next because I highly recommend. Also focusing on your environment. So trying your best to keep a clean room or a clean space, and also surrounding yourself by people who are uplifting you and inspiring you to be better. I feel like the best friend group is one that is constantly uplifting each other and motivating each other, maybe even challenging each other a little bit to be the best versions of themselves. You don't want to be friends with the people who are just going out and partying and doing drugs or drinking. That's not going to get you anywhere in life. We quite literally are like the production of our own environment. So whatever you surround yourself by, you will see more of. If you though have a clean space and you're constantly listening to positive, uplifting frequencies or podcasts, and you're making friends with, intelligent, growing people who have a lot of aspirations and ambitions in life, that will take you so much further than the friends who don't even believe in you and are trying to discourage you from becoming your highest self because they don't want to see you win, because they're jealous because they can't put that discipline in themselves. So you have to be disciplined enough to be able to walk away from people and situations that are no longer serving you or your best interest or your goals. And I think a huge part of this is learning to say no. When I think winter arc, I almost imagine, being invited to a bunch of crazy parties and things like that, and allowing yourself to say no, and then going in and dialing in at the gym or focusing on a night with yourself. Really building a relationship with yourself is so important. But I just want you to know you don't need anybody else but yourself. So it's okay to place yourself on the pedestal and put your needs and your well-being and your own personal growth journey before the social outing or before something that means literally nothing in the grand scheme of things. Again, I want to clarify, I'm not saying to sit out on anything enjoyable or fun, but if there's something that doesn't feel like it's going to be good for you, if you feel it in your heart, it's not in your best interest, and that there's so many other things that you could be doing that are so much more productive for who you want to become, it's okay to choose that. You don't have to say yes to every little social outing. And moving into the winter arc, I want you guys to know that it's okay to let go of this feeling of regret that you have, maybe from the year that just passed, right? Of, I wish I did this and I was supposed to do all these things and I didn't accomplish it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Let go of that regret so that you can move forward. The more that we waste time dwelling on the past, that was a whole, moment of time where you could have been doing something to better yourself. You could have been visualizing your future and breaking down the steps that you're going to take to get there, but instead you were dwelling on the past and all the things you should have done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, you guys. Like, literally, it doesn't matter. Let it go. Every single day is a new day, right? So don't wait until 2025, until the new year, to start your dream life and your dream goals. Just start now. Because that all or nothing mindset when you are dealing with your goals and growth, especially during a time that's so vulnerable, like the holiday season or seasonal depression, that all or nothing mindset will make you miserable because you'll constantly be beating yourself up and pushing yourself to these unrealistic standards when you should just go easy on yourself. You don't have to accomplish every single goal every single day. Like, Rome was not built in a day, you guys. There are so many different things that lead up to the finished product. So if one day you didn't tick all the boxes, that doesn't mean you knock the whole tower of cards over and you have to start from scratch. You are still building these healthy habits for yourself day by day, and so find comfort in that. If each day you are getting 1% better, 3 months from now, you will be unrecognizable. Accountability is such a huge one, you guys. And I feel like when, again, we have the unrealistic goals, it's harder to hold ourselves accountable because we really didn't believe ourselves to begin with. So what I'm doing to hold myself accountable is I'm vlogging it every single day. You don't have to vlog it if you don't want to publicize it. You could even just, keep track of it in a journal on how you feel each day, habit tracker, check boxes on a to-do list, or tell a close friend or family member that you're doing it. Maybe find a friend to do it with and motivate each other. But to keep myself accountable, I'm vlogging each day of my winter arc and what I'm doing and how I'm doing with my goals and my progression. So if you guys want to see that, I'm doing it over on my TikTok. So go ahead and follow me on there, and my other socials at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. I'll be doing it on my Snapchat as well. Don't forget to follow at Hot Unbothered on Instagram and TikTok, and leave a review on this episode for your chance to be featured next week. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next Bri Day. Bye. Mwah.